Hi, welcome to my channel where I bring you lampworking tutorials and demonstrations. Today I'm going to go ahead and do a deep dive on punties. So for those of you who don't know, in lampworking, a punty just refers to a rod of clear glass that you're using as a handle to hold whatever the piece is that you're working on. So today I'm just going to show you guys how to properly prepare your punties, how to fuse them correctly so that they don't fuse to the piece and so that they're easy to remove, how to remove the punties from the piece, and all of that good stuff. So let's go ahead and just get into my studio and dive right in. So you can see on the left-hand side, I have a couple of clear glass rods to use as my punties in this demonstration. I tend to like using 5mm rods as punties, but you can use whatever you prefer. When preparing a punty, there's basically just a couple of things you want to think about. The first is always to kind of check and see if there's any different colored glass kind of stuck on the end. If there is, you always want to make sure to go ahead and pull that excess glass off. And then you just want to make sure that it's nice and even and rounded and there's no weird, sharp edges or corners. So when I'm preparing my punties, this is how I like them to look right here. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just using kind of an extra scrap of glass I had laying around here. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start melting that into a little gather. And once I have the bottom rounded out here, I'll go ahead and do my first punty fuse. So whenever you are attaching a punty to a piece of glass, you want to keep in mind that you always want to be fusing glass that is molten hot to glass that is just warm. And it actually doesn't matter if it's your punty that's molten or if it's the piece that is molten, as long as you're always fusing glass that's just warm, like that punty that I just barely dipped into the fire, to glass that is fully melted through and molten. This ensures both that the glass will actually stick together. If it's just cold glass, it won't stick to your piece. But if both pieces are too hot, they'll fuse together. So you always want to make sure that you're attaching super, super hot glass to glass that is just a little bit warm. So there, I just cut off the top of the extra scrap of rod there, and I'm just kind of melting that little bit of colored glass that I pulled off into a nice round ball. And now that it's nice and rounded, I'm going to go ahead and do another fuse here. This time I'm going to make my punty molten while I allow the little ball of glass to actually cool down. So you can see what this looks like on the opposite end here when you're fusing a molten punty to a slightly cooled piece. When removing a punty, you basically just want to hit the punty that you're removing on the edge of your table. And you can see when that one came off, it left a little scrap of glass. No big deal. You can always go in with your tweezers and just pull those little fragments off. And then I'm just going to kind of melt that in and make it nice and even again. Anytime you remove a punty, it will leave just a little punty mark. So anytime you remove a handle, you do want to hit the section of the piece where the handle was with the flame to give it a nice polish. And once again here you can see I'm reheating that original punty while also allowing this little ball of glass to cool. Another fusion there, and then hitting it on the table again to remove my punty from the other side. Whenever you're removing a punty, you do want to remove it when your new punty is still molten. This will just ensure that the correct punty is the one that falls off when you hit it against the edge of the table. And for anyone who is kind of working on this and hasn't quite gotten the hang of it, this is exactly what I would recommend doing. Just get a piece of glass, melt it into a ball, get 2 punties, and just practice passing it back and forth until you get the hang of it and you feel really comfortable with the punty passing process. Even though it might feel a little weird to, use torch time and not really actually make anything, I promise practicing this and getting the fundamentals down will really serve you well as you move forward in your lampworking journey. And as I continue passing this back and forth, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe for more lampworking tutorials and demonstrations. And always, I'll throw the link to my Etsy store on the screen here and also in the description below this video in case you're curious and you want to see the rest of my work. In that last clip there, I just knocked the piece right into my bowl. A good punny fuse, it should be really easy to kind of remove pieces, even with just a gentle bump against the edge of your scrap bowl. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for watching.